So today we're in Mark 11 and verses 12 to 14 and also verses 20 to 24, which is a curious incident where Jesus apparently curses a fig tree for not bearing fruit in the wrong season. And this is a story that should make us feel a bit uncomfortable, but to us it can seem a bit trivial and frankly a bit odd. What's happening in this story that can speak to us today? Taken on its own, this isn't a good look for Jesus to our modern eyes. It makes Jesus look a bit like a spoilt child or perhaps a bit hangry. Taking it out on a fig tree for not bearing fruit in springtime seems like a little bit of a harsh thing to do. Before the cross and the resurrection in Mark's Gospel, this is Jesus' last miracle in the Gospel of Mark, and one, interestingly, that brings death rather than life. This story shouldn't be read on its own. You may have noticed that our reading today skips a bit in the middle, and that's the cleansing of the temple story that we've already read. This story is a framing for that story. You see, the temple should have been the place where justice and worship met, but the reality was very different in Jesus' day. The prophets had been given warning after warning to God's people, and very little had changed. I think here Jesus is saying that the temple should have been the place that was bearing fruit. The temple itself was a bit like this fig tree, expected to bear fruit, but rotten on the inside. So what's going on here? Well, as Tim Keller says, he's not really dealing with a fig tree. He's dealing with us. You see, trees like these give their fruit in two ways. And there is a final way that we perhaps are more familiar with, where you get rich, plump fruit. But that's in the spring. And the fact is that the tree was in leaf. That tells us that the tree was in early bud. And most likely, at this time, people would use fig trees as a bit of a roadside snack for travellers. And so Jesus looked on at this fig tree, which should have been showing some signs of life, some buds of early life that people can use on their wanders and travels as they could pick that fruit. And it may look okay from a distance, Jesus says, but actually get up close and you'll see that this fig tree is rotten and is dying on the inside. Just like the temple, you can look at it from a distance and think everything is fine, but actually it needs a cleanup of what is rotten on the inside. And Jesus came to uproot the religion that can never sustain life. Jesus is looking to us to throw away those empty and those formulaic ways of relating and turn to him, the source of true life. Now is the time for each of us to make ready for the resurrection life that we anticipate at Easter time. I wonder for us, are we a bit like that fig tree? And do we need in our own lives to make ready our lives for Jesus this Easter? Are there ways in which the way we live have a deadness to them, a religiosity to the way in which we relate to God? And our insides need a bit of a clear out. Are you ready for change this Easter? Are you ready to bear fruit for God in a new season?